Hey, how's everybody doing out there? It's your number one Grace girl, Farra Worrell, and I want to welcome you to Art of Grace podcast. Thank you guys so much. You've been so patient in anticipating us starting the podcast, and I appreciate you all so much. And I will tell you that a lot of you guys were my biggest push because so many people reached out to me, whether it was via, instant message, text messages, or just asking me in person, hey, when is the podcast going to be starting? And I am finally sitting myself still to do that. So many of you guys follow me on social media and you see that I stay quite busy. 2023 has been busy and it's had its highs and lows and to be honest, it stresses. But I did not want to go another day or another month without getting this podcast out to you guys, and I'm super excited. Thank you guys all so much for being patient with me. And I mean, we are finally getting started here, guys. Can you believe it? I can't believe that it's July already. I mean, that is just nuts. We're already more than halfway through the year, and we can't allow this year to be finished until God says it's finished. And, so that means that we have some more work to do in this year as women. And so I want to thank you guys so much for coming through. My number one hope for the podcast is to share my life with you all and to highlight other amazing women, that have inspired me. So I know if they've inspired me, I know for sure they're going to inspire you. So I appreciate you guys waiting on me. And guess what? This first episode is only me. So today is going to be me. As our next few episodes come, you're going to see women every month with me. We have an amazing lineup for you all. So I want you all to be in anticipation of that. And don't forget about us, okay? And I do want to say that Art of Grace, I think I shared a little bit of this on my Facebook Live a few months ago. It was truly inspired by my sister friends, Women of Grace out of Richmond, Virginia. I had some time to spend with them this past September, and we just had some girl time, girl talk, laughter, love, eating, just the things that we love to do, sharing testimonies. And the one thing that they asked me before I left was, what are you going to be doing in ministry coming soon? And I was like, you know what, I don't know. And honestly, at that time, I didn't know. Not that I've been sailing and cruising, but I've honestly have taken these past some years, especially since I've been here in Florida, it's been a lot of focus on family and work. But, God's allowed me to connect with so many women in the marketplace. But now it's time to get back to ministry as well. And so I'm excited about it. And, it's God when something just, makes you excited and makes you want to jump in and do it. And so I appreciate them just asking me that question, because that was definitely a push for me to just, reach out to God and say, what is my next step in this next coming year? And, when I got back home, he actually said it to me, Art of Grace. And I remember when I had gotten that name, I had reached out to all the ladies, back, up in Virginia, and they were super excited. And so I know if they were excited, I knew that you all would be excited to get this started. And so there's just so much to share. It's been a long time since I've done any speaking engagements. It's been 5 years. I mean, that time blows by. But man, and it's been 10 years since I've been here in Florida. February 2013, I moved here, and now we're in 2023, and that time has just flown by. But I will say that I am feeling settled, and I've just gained so many more amazing relationships with so many women here, and a lot of them in the marketplace. And so, sometimes we talk about ministry and we just think about us, in the church, but what about those in the marketplace? Because honestly, a lot of them have been a big push for me since I've been here, a big inspiration, a big support. And so I can't leave them out. And so, the ministry is definitely going to be more so around women in ministry and the marketplace, because that's how it should be. So starting out with myself and all of you listening, we totally relate by just being women. When I say women, of course, wives, mothers, sisters, friends, aunts, grandmothers, business women, entrepreneurs, and some of you guys even moguls. And by summing that all up, some of us, each one of these roles, sometimes we play a lot of them in one season, and then maybe it's one in one season. But in that, we cannot make it without God's grace, getting us through that. And so I just want to encourage you all listening that, you're not doing it on your own. All right. The one thing that I do know is that despite any of my education, any of my training that I've had, any experience, sometimes you think that you're doing it on your own. We take for granted that God's grace is getting us through. And so I just want to remind you that if you're in any one of those roles that I just mentioned, just know that God's grace is, getting you through that. Don't be a fool and think it's you, all right? Because it's not us. It's totally Him. We totally have to rely on Him. I do want to share something with you guys. I want to have a transparency moment, and I don't think I've shared this testimony in a while. And maybe for some of my friends here, none of them have ever heard me talk about this. But I lost my mom back in 1999 to HIV and AIDS. My mom battled for years with drug addiction, just as far back as I can remember, even through my childhood. I didn't grow up in the same home with her, me and my siblings. But the one thing that I can say is that we had a strong love for her and, a love and a bond that couldn't be broken despite what her struggles were. And through that, as I grew into an adult and, had my own children, one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to be an exceptional mom to them. Just the things that, you grow up with. You don't have to be defined by it, and I truly believe that grace was a real big marker in my life, where I wasn't defined by, what I was brought up in. But as I became an adult and got saved and, started to listen and lean on God for His direction, because of course, once you become a believer, the one thing that He wants from you is He wants you to serve, and He spoke to me and, I think it was just probably already in my heart, wanting to work with women. And, He was like, what about women's ministry? And that was just such a perfect landing spot for me because that's something that was already near and dear to me. We didn't call it ministry, but, when you have amazing friends and friends that you have a bond with and, you can talk to and you can listen to, all of my life I've been doing that, but once you become saved, it's just even more special. I think that it was back in like 2001, 2022 is when I started to just, seek after that. And I want to be a support. I wanted to be a support to women of any race, background, religion, because I truly believe that God had people in my mother's life and, especially women around her, despite what she was going through, the Bible says that He will never leave us nor forsake us. And I truly believe that she had people around her, even still, that, just encouraged her, even through those hard times. And, I want to be an encouragement to you right now as you're listening. But it was those years ago, as I was talking to God about, women's ministry, I was on a road trip and I was listening to a Christian radio station and the pastor came on and I don't remember what the message was about per se, but I remember him saying the word grace so loudly. And he said, grace, God's redemption at Christ's expense. And I thought, wow, that would be an awesome name for a ministry. And truly, as I looked at it, I mean, my life has been immersed in grace. And, ever since I was born, once you think about that word, it's like it was just so perfect. And I started to realize how much God's grace surrounded me all of my life, how it protected me, how it helped me to grow and how it shaped me. And so, it just holds such a special place in my heart. So ladies, I want to ask you right now, at this very moment, to take account of God's grace in your life. And, once you start to do that, I know that we can't even count it. We don't even have a number for it. Our natural minds can't even fathom how much grace God has given us, whether we know it or whether we don't know it, what He protected us from, whether He kept us from. Man, I mean, His grace, I'm sure, is very evident in your life. I want to encourage you all who's listening, from teenagers to young adults, to those in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s like moi. And for those ladies who are 70, 60, in your 80s and up, God has been extending our lives to grace. And there's still more room for your canvas in your life. So you still have a story to write. Your story has not even come to an end. We have an expected end that God knows about, but He knows about it, and we're going to allow Him to continue to draw out and map out your life through His grace. Artistry. I was looking at the definition for art, and this jumped out at me, and it said to distinguish it from other art forms. And isn't that just how God is? How each one of us have a distinct marker on us that, when He draws us and He draws out our life and who we are, each one of us have such a unique look, fingerprint, whatever that marker is that God has on us. We're all so different. And I love this psalm. It says, Psalm 139, 14 to 16, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in a secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. And isn't that amazing? And this shows us how much we have to let go of control, because we think that we're the ones mapping out our life. But right here, the word says that He has written them down for us. Some of us hate looking back at pictures of ourselves. I love going onto Facebook on Thursdays and seeing you guys TBTs, Throwback Thursday pictures. It's so cool. What do you think you would see if you look back to see yourself as a toddler or an adolescent or a teenager? I was just thinking about that as I was coming on to record the podcast today. And I thought back to the teen years that I had, and they weren't the best. I just was sharing with you all about my upbringing. It wasn't the best, but, I'm alive. And I'm thinking back to before I turned 18 and as a teenager, the one thing I said is I want to be 18 so bad. I think a lot of us want to grow so fast past the process. We want to just jump ahead. But one of the things that I did when I was a teenager was that I did always keep a job. I did want to be an adult. I started my career in dental very young, right out of high school, although I wanted to work as an optician. And the one thing that I said, and me and my husband were talking about this today, is that I don't want to have kids. And so that was a little bit of laughter today. But by the time I was in my 20s, I was married at 21, then a mother of 2 daughters. And although I'm a Brooklyn girl, I said I would never leave there, and I relocated to Virginia. So another part of life that was totally out of my control, that, God was the one orchestrating and moving, where He wanted me to be and who He wanted me to be. Getting into my 30s, I had my son, I owned my own business, graduated from Bible school, then Bible college, met a heap of amazing women that I walked alongside of and did ministry with, and that I built long-lasting friendships with. That it just makes me happy to just even think about that time that when I lived in Virginia. And when I lived there, I said I would never leave Virginia. I spent 12 amazing years there, met amazing people that are family, not just friends, but family as well. And then into my 40s, I decided to move to Florida. And why? Because like a lot of us Northerners, we love the weather. Coming here in the month of December when it was nice and toasty and warm with flip-flops and a tank top, and going back to Virginia to shovel snow, I was like, yeah, no, I think I want to do something different. And God opened the door for me to come to Florida, me and my family. And then coming here, another part of my life, another one of those roles changing, raising teenagers, highs and lows, sicknesses, separation and reconciliation, becoming a Mimi to my 2 amazing grandchildren, making new friends, setting new goals, and watching God do things for me that I had asked Him to do 10 years ago when I moved here. I'm seeing come to fruition even today. So now being in my 50s, it's different. Prioritizing me, self-care, better health, enjoying life, trying to slow down, and learning how to say no. And so with all these phases of change, God had to erase, recreate, paint, do His artwork in me, not just the exterior me, but the internal me. 2 Corinthians verse 5 says, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. What is God recreating in your life? Is He erasing some things? Hurt, pain, grief, loneliness, depression, anxiety, stopping busyness, stunted growth, or is it fear? Now, for all of these, it does not mean that you'll forget, but once He makes the changes and He recreates the new you and He brushes on those new paint strokes, you'll remember to increase your faith. It's okay to remember those things so that you can share your testimony with other amazing women. In ending this episode, I just want to say, ladies, allow yourself to be the canvas and allow God to have His way. I want to hear from you guys. I want you to reach out to us. Reach out to me on Instagram. Reach out to me on Facebook at One Grace Girl. On Instagram, Facebook, Farra Mills-Worrell. I want to hear from you. And we'll be uploading this episode to YouTube as well, so that way you guys can look at the video and share with me. I would love to hear from you. For the first person that reaches out to me on social media and I see your name, I want to send you this beautiful journal. This journal, I love it. I've had a few of these for a couple of months now, and I've been giving them away as gifts, but it's actually a journal for taking time for you, a mother's journal. So I would love to send this to you for free for the first person that reaches out to us online. And I did want to take this time out to give some shout outs to a couple of people, some birthday shout outs actually, to my cousin Nika, who just celebrated her 50th birthday. My sweet, sweet friend Priscilla Jeanette Chance. She's actually the godmother of my first daughter. And I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, actually. Happy birthday to you, Pastor Jennifer Davis. Her and her husband, Richard Davis, just launched their new church, Oasis Church in Fredericksburg. Check them out online. Beautiful couple. Beautiful, beautiful couple, loves to worship, has a beautiful family. But if you're looking for a place in Fredericksburg, Virginia to fellowship, please check out Oasis Church of Fredericksburg. So until the next time we speak, thank you so much for spending time with us on the Art of Grace podcast, and we'll hear from you the next episode. Look forward to episode 2. It's going to be amazing. We can't wait to see you there. We'll let you know when that episode will be dropping. Thank you.